They liked the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there. Right?
Carl Edwards free falling for a couple of victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team lineup this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome to the Watkins Glen edition of the Inside Line. What a fantastic, I guess you could put it, upset Cinderella story win by Chris Buescher. Well, he got an assist by the weather, but still cool to see someone like that in victory lane, isn't it?
Look, man, it doesn't say in the history books.
No, it don't.
Weather. Doesn't say it at all. It says winner, Chris Buescher.
And I'm sure someone like Dale Earnhardt Sr., someone like that would have took a win when it was rain shortened.
Take a win. I don't care. I don't care how I get it. I just want to win. Yeah, it was great for Chris. And Chris and Tyler, you and I both have had the opportunity to talk to him before.
Yeah.
Good kid. Really a good kid. Won the Xfinity Series championship last year. The first 21 races of 2016 have not gone to plan for those guys. So congratulations to them getting the win. 6 points away from the chase right now. They need to make up 6 points on 30th place David Reagan over the course of the next 5 or 6 weeks, however many we got left before the thing starts, and he's in the chase. Great story.
Really, he was running better than usual. He was in the top 20.
Sure.
And at Indianapolis, he was a 14th place finish. I said that last week that was a win for them.
Yeah.
You know, with how good they ran at Indianapolis.
Boy, were you wrong.
Of course, yeah, because they go out and win.
Because they go out and win.
It just seemed to me in the media center like it didn't seem like they were all that excited about it. I thought they'd be way more excited, but maybe they were holding their emotions in.
I think it's a little bit of shock. It's a little bit of
maybe
what just happened, you know. Also, I think it may have been a little subdued because there was a long time between when they brought the cars to pit road and when they finally called the race off. So, but still, it doesn't matter. Chris Buescher is a winner in the Sprint Cup Series, the first of many, I'm sure. And congratulations to him, and congratulations to you if you had him on your team last week.
Me.
I knew I was setting myself up right there. I was setting myself up.
I had a good week last week.
Rango had a really good week.
Coming up on the show today, Lee Spencer joins us. We're going to try something new this week. She's a very fantastic rider in NASCAR.
Absolutely.
One of the most famous. Motorsports.com is who she writes for currently. So Lee Spencer will join us, talk a little fantasy. I don't know if she plays, but we'll talk more storyline based topics, and then she'll tell us who she think will be good at Watkins Glen. Then we'll listen to Robbie's team and my team, and then we'll pick some winners and do some Under the Rocks, and we'll do some Rango Fallering.
I saw Rango circling a little while ago, so he'll be here again.
He smoked
today.
us.
He destroyed us last
He finished
week.
16th. He also had Chris Buescher on his team. I watched that movie last night, by the way.
Wow.
It's actually a pretty good movie.
Okay. I ended up with Truex on my team on Monday, and, of course, he had problems, and it kind of hurt me and hurt you a little bit. But that was last week. Let's go to Watkins Glen.
Sprint Cup Series practice is coming up shortly, but right now you're watching the Inside Line, and we will have the rest of that you just heard next here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show.
Got a question or opinion about your fantasy lineup? Give us a call at 8444-ASK-MRN, and it may get used on next week's show. The Inside Line will return in a moment.
O'Reilly. Need auto parts but can't get to a store right now? Head to O'ReillyAuto.com. Buy your parts online and pick them up in any of the 4,600 O'Reilly Auto Parts stores nationwide. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup on your schedule. Shop your way at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Race fans, you know there's nothing like the power, excitement, and sounds of NASCAR. Ever wonder what it would be like to strap yourself in the seat of an authentic NASCAR race car? You can do it at the Richard Petty Driving Experience. Ride along or drive yourself at one of 15 tracks nationwide. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit online at drivepetty.com. Richard Petty Driving Experience. It's authentic NASCAR entertainment. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit drivepetty.com to reserve your experience.
If you have a question or comment about NASCAR, Motor Racing Network has a direct line for you. It's the Fan Forum Hotline.
I'm a newbie to this sport just this year, and I wanted to know.
I was wondering if when they measure the length of a racetrack.
Call in at 844-4-ASK-MRN. That's 844-4-ASK-MRN.
Just wanted to send out a big shout out and thanks for covering the race.
The Fan Forum Hotline, your connection to NASCAR.
Welcome back to the Inside Line. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
So I got a text from Rich last night, and he was bragging already about how he's moved into second position.
Oh, I heard all about it.
Fantasy standings.
I heard all about it.
Even though I beat him last week.
Yeah.
Because he had Chase Elliott and someone else, Truex, I think. Yes.
I told him about your strategy of picking the same team as him.
No, that's not my strategy. That's his strategy of trying to stay in front of me.
Okay. All right. I was confused.
So
I apologize.
So a couple weeks ago, he picked the exact same team as me.
Yeah.
And I was so mad. I texted him.
Why doesn't he ever pick the same team as me?
Because I'm better than you.
Okay.
And he just, and plus he just wants to stay in front of me. Well, that didn't work last week.
Yeah.
Though I have a lot of points to catch up to him. But I had a pretty good week last week. You know,
Join
Busher,
our league. The address
I knew
is
Busher
right
was
there.
going to win.
No, you didn't.
Why do you think he was on my team? And why do you think he was on Rango's team? We're just as smart as anybody out there.
Watkins Glen, the Cheez-It 355 this weekend.
11 turns?
11 turns, maybe. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, but I think it's 11 turns. 90 laps. It's a fun race. It's a quick race. A lot of fun stuff can happen here. I love this road course. I like this road course a lot better than I like Sonoma.
No, not me.
Well, I do. It's a beautiful area, beautiful part of the country, and weather looks good for this weekend.
I'm just kidding. I do love Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
I love both road course races. This is the two races that I love watching every year.
Yeah.
More than probably any other ones. I mean, Daytona and Talladega are cool.
Well, I go back to it. This race has taken on a different demeanor since we went to the double file restarts. Before that, it was easy to get strung out here, but now double file restarts, we're going to go like 7 wide into turn 1 at one point this weekend. So a lot of opportunities to pass cars and a lot of opportunities to get past as well.
Well, this place was just recently repaved, so that's kind of where I started with my team as far as picking guys who had tested here. And I think you're kind of in the same boat. I mean, you had I heard someone say you had Brad Keselowski involved with either your team or
somehow or another.
Something. Yeah. Martin Truex Jr. tested there. I believe he's going to be pretty decent. Kevin Harvick tested there. That's a little teaser for later. Kevin Harvick finishing second, of course, last time we were at Watkins Glen in the Cup Series. I'm going to start from the top with Kyle Busch, a guy I think you must have, and I believe he's on your team as well, Robbie. Kyle Busch has one finish out of the top 10 at Watkins Glen in the last 10 races. And that just happened to be a 40th place finish 2 years ago. But before that, last year second, then he won the race in 2013, and then you go all the way down the list, and he's finished in the top 10 or the top 5 every single race. Kyle Busch must be on your team. I think he is a great start this weekend at Watkins Glen International.
Yeah, I've got him on my team, and I agree with that. And he's really good on road courses in general. 4 wins on the 2 road courses, 2 at Sonoma, 2 at Watkins Glen. His driver rating is second highest at a 109.9, and one of my picks later on, Tony Stewart. Those 2 guys have the top 2 driver ratings, and they have separated themselves from the field significantly with those numbers. And he also has the 3rd highest 10-race average finish, so I definitely like Kyle Busch this weekend. I've also got his teammate, Carl Edwards, on my team, and it's been a weird season for Carl Edwards, a lot of good runs, a lot of bad runs. Last week was a good run at Pocono, but at Watkins Glen, he has the best 10-race average finish at a 7.3, 5 top 5 finishes in the last 10 races. And his worst finish in the last 10 races is 14th in 2012. He was 8th last year in this race, and he has a 6th highest driver rating at 95.1. So as much last week as I said Toyota might not be the best option for your fantasy team, I've got 2 Toyotas right off the bat on my team this week.
Yep, I like the Carl Edwards pick. Joey Logano is also on my team. He swept both races last year. He was in the top 5, actually finished 3rd at Sonoma. and he swept the Xfinity Series and the Cup race last year. Though Kevin Harvick the Xfinity Series and the Cup race last year. Though Kevin Harvick probably had the best car.
Yeah,
Logano has slowly become one of the best road course racers in the garage. He has now 3 top 10 finishes in a row at the Watkins Glen International, and he won last year, 6th in 2014 and 7th in 2013. So Logano is on my team this week, a guy who most likely could get you a win this weekend.
And he's also one of 6 drivers who are pulling double duty this weekend. Paul Menard, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, and Trevor Bayne is actually running in the Xfinity Series race tomorrow. So a lot of Cup guys in that race on Saturday to get extra track time on the new repave going into Sunday's race.
We mutually have Tony Stewart, the best driver rating at Watkins Glen International. He averages a 116 average rating, which, of course, the highest is 150. So Tony Stewart, over his career, has been unbelievable at Watkins Glen. He will be one of our one-on-ones in the NASCAR Live pre-race show you can hear on Sunday. He'll be chatting with Kim Kuhn. I don't like the 43rd place finish the last time we were there. And then, of course, the last 2 years before that, he did not race at Watkins Glen International. So it's been 4 years since we've even seen him close to the top 10, I guess, if you will, which he was 19th in that race and 27th before. So he has really struggled the past 5 years at Watkins Glen. But before that, he was unbelievable. I mean, he couldn't even get out of the first or second place position before that. So the way he's running right now, and I locked him in earlier when he actually came back, so I have him about $3 cheaper than what he actually costs. I like the way he's running right now, and so a track like this suits his style to be good.
Yeah, and if you think about Tony Stewart, I'm not going to worry about his last few finishes at Watkins Glen because this season he's been running really strong since he came back, especially since Pocono back in June. He has more top 5 finishes this year than he had in the last 2 years combined. He had 3 in 2014 and none last year. And now we go to Watkins Glen, one of his best racetracks. And, oh, by the way, he won the last time we turned left and right at Sonoma back in June. So Tony Stewart's on my team. I've got Chase Elliott again. And, man, this streak of bad luck is just it's starting to scare me with Chase. I don't know what's going on with those guys. But they've dropped in price to $24.75. So we'll see what happens with him over the course of the next few weeks. And I'll round out my team with Casey Mears at $8.25. Not bad here over the years. He has a better 10-race average finish than guys like Denny Hamlin, Casey Kane, and Jeff Gordon.
I have Tony Stewart's teammate on my team, Kurt Busch, who has been a great road course racer at least the past couple of years. He finished 10th in Sonoma. But looking at his numbers at Watkins Glen, he has 3 straight top 10s. The only driver that has that right now is Carl Edwards. And then, of course, Joey Logano. So, there's only 3 guys coming into this race with 3 straight top 10s. Kurt Busch is one of them. I think Kurt Busch will be good this weekend. So, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, Chris Buescher. That's my team.
I've got Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, Chase Elliott, and Casey Mears.
Motorsports.com. Lee Spencer joins us after the break. You're watching the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Tyler and Robbie will be right back to talk more fantasy racing here on the Inside Line.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation or the perfect romantic retreat? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. Discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service on Daytona Beach. The Plaza Resort and Spa is the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
MRN On Demand. Listen or watch when you want and where you want. Find all of MRN's original programs in the Media Center at MRN.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Race Day Nation on iHeartRadio. Find NASCAR Live, Motorsports Monday, Winged Nation, NASCAR Coast to Coast, Pod Tracks, Sling and Dirt, The Inside Line, and The Straight Line. Motorsports programs when you want, where you want. MRN On Demand. Let's talk more fantasy racing on The Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Apparently, Kurt Busch has tested at Watkins Glen International as well. So I think you said that with this new pavement, we're definitely going to see a little something different at the Glen, whether it be similar to the guys that we see usually, or if we see some newcomers come up to the front of the field.
Well, I think we may see some faster speeds, but you repave a road course. It's not like repaving a super speedway or an intermediate racetrack. But we're definitely going to see a lot of, we're going to see some of the same stuff that we've seen this weekend, but we're also going to see some faster speeds, I think more grip throughout the corners. So, and drivers may be more willing to take a little bit more, some different chances, knowing that they have more grip than they had the last time we raced there.
It's a pleasure to welcome to the program this week Lee Spencer. She writes for motorsport.com. She's a phenomenal writer. You should definitely go read her stuff. Lee, how are you? I know you'll be at the Glen this weekend. It's good to talk to you this week.
I'm super, guys. How are you?
We're doing great. Talking just storylines in general heading into this weekend, the biggest one probably has to be Jeff Gordon returning back. Jeff Gordon, not Gordy. Gordon. Returning back to Watkins Glen International. He's actually going to race at the Glen and Bristol. Assess Jeff Gordon's chances heading to a repaved racetrack. He hasn't seen it, obviously, because he didn't test there. But what do you think of Gordon's chances this weekend?
Well, I think he's shown over the course of the races he's run for the 88 team so far that he's just a tick off, and that just comes from being out of practice because certainly the talent is there. No one will ever question that. I mean, even though he turns 45 on Thursday, I don't think he's lost that much. But, as he said at the Brickyard, restarts were certainly an issue, and a lot of that is just not being in the car. When you're competing at that level on a weekly basis, then certainly when it comes to restarts, you're up to speed because you're used to competing against the best of the best. When you haven't done that for a while, it's going to take you a while to get reacclimated to the process, particularly when you're going up against guys like Kyle Busch, who is just absolutely phenomenal when it comes to that part of the game. But, that being said, here's a guy who's won 4 times at Watkins Glen. When you look back at the history of that track, the torch was kind of passed to Tony Stewart once, after we hit the millennium, and he carried it pretty much from there. I think he had 7 podiums in 10 top 10s and 11 starts. I mean, that is just absolutely phenomenal when you think about that. But I really expect him to, just be the old Jeff Gordon. I always thought Watkins Glen was a better track for him, later in his career because he could use a little more finesse where Watkins Glen is about speed and muscle. And but I think that he would probably do every bit as well as Dale Jr. would at that racetrack.
Yeah, I agree.
Lee, Jeff Gordon obviously has spent his entire career at Hendrick Motorsports. To some people, Hendrick is down right now. Obviously Dale Jr. is out of the car. Jimmy Johnson has struggled throughout the summer. And over the course of the last 6 races, Chase Elliott has just not been good. What's the state of Hendrick Motorsports right now? Is there concern in their camp that their cars are not running as well as maybe the Gibbs or the Team Penske cars right now?
Well, I think Rick Hendrick addressed that at the Brickyard, and we all know racing is cyclical. Right now, Joe Gibbs Racing is on top. I would call Penske a close second. Depending upon who you look at, it's Stuart Haas Racing on a given week. Tony. I mean, obviously Kevin Harvick's at the top of the pylon if we were going to look at that, and he's at the top of standings as well. And Kurt Busch is just not far back in third. Kurt, my gosh, the consistency, 21 races now that he's completed every lap. There's something to be said to that when you start getting through the chase and you're looking at consistency. I would not count Kurt off And Tony, like I said, he's been well, but it should really be a glaring example when you have Stewart House Racing running as well as they are in their swan season with Hendrick Motorsports, doing better with the Hendrick equipment than Hendrick Motorsports is. When you look at it from that perspective, Hendrick Motorsports has work to do. And as they said, one of the key elements to Jeff Gordon, see, now you have me doing it, Gordon, with Jeff being in the fold, so to speak, and running several races, or, we don't know how many it's going to be, but running what he is, his feedback, it has to be very strong for that organization. Not taking anything away from Chase Elliott, mind you, but when you have a four-time champion with the resume that Jeff Gordon has, and he's able to take that information into those team meetings on Tuesday, it's invaluable to an organization. And I think one of the things that they have been missing this season is that feedback from Jeff. When you think about it, every little bit helps. And Jimmy had a decent run on. I have to think about it on Monday.
Yeah,
I'm
Monday.
Still clearing out the cobwebs from Pocono. But it's certainly there. I won't say he's not racing his way into it, but a lot of it has to do with strategy, track position to get where they need to be, as opposed to just being out there muscling the car with the Top Gibbs cars, with the Penske cars, with Stewart House Racing, and a six-time champion should be able to make up for some of that deficit. But you've certainly seen cracks in the infrastructure this season.
One of the storylines heading into this weekend undoubtedly will probably be A.J. Allmendinger, his last chance most likely to win a race this season. I know the last couple of races at road courses, he finished 24th the last time we were at Watkins Glen, and then they had the mistake on pit road. He finished 14th at Sonoma. AJ, is he a guy, I know he tested at Watkins Glen, but is he a guy that our viewers should put on the fantasy team this week?
Well, I don't know what the money is on how much his pick is going to be, and quite frankly, I don't play fantasy. I don't have time for fantasy,
yeah, right.
So it would be really hard for me to tell you if he's a best buy. If he was going to run at Dover, I would say, hey, throw him in because he's, for whatever reason, he's good at that track, and certainly my guess is he would be. You're not going to call him a value pick at the Glen because he's won there. You expect him to run well. But the one thing about AJ is everything has to come together for him. He's not going to pull one out of his hat. If he gets frustrated on the racetrack, it's really hard for him to kick back into where he needs to be. That team has made improvements over last season, I will say, both on the track and from a personnel standpoint. But everything has to really go AJ's way for things to happen, and we've seen him come back, but he's not a comeback kid in the same regard that
right.
Say Joey Logano. They always find a way to get back to the 48 team historically has been the consummate team when they get down and have been able to come back. He's a little more like a Kyle Busch, where when stuff starts hitting the fan, it takes him a while to recuperate. But I will say the fact that he was able to test at Watkins Glen, that he has been on this new tire, and you guys we're talking about a tire that's not going to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
These guys can go a full fuel run on tires, or at least that's the reports I was getting from people who were actually at the test. They can go a full fuel run before they even have to worry about changing tires. You're not seeing the kind of wear on that some of the drivers would like. They went extremely conservative with this tire, and I think that that's going to come into play as well. But, AJ does have a leg up on the competition, having tested there, but he just did not sound optimistic during his interview at Watkins Glen during the media availability, where he's like, I'm not even worried about the chase right now. I'm just worried about running well now. And I think that kind of speaks a little bit to his frustration that he's not where he needs to be and where he would like to get.
He did run a little bit better at Pocono, so that's
yeah.
a positive.
Yeah, it was an upbeat and a very disappointing season for AJ. All right, Lee, it's the time of the week where we always have our guests sit on the hot seat for a minute. Who is in victory lane on Sunday at Watkins Glen?
Oh, boy. I think it'd be a hellacious story if Tony Stewart can pull it off.
Yeah.
He has 5 wins there. We talked about his incredible record. But, if Jeff Gordon goes out, ties Tony's, 5 wins and does it in his 800 start.
That'd be unreal.
If I'm pulling for a story, that would be my story. Hard to go against Keselowski. Hard to go against Kyle Busch. I'm still waiting for Kyle Larson to have that breakthrough. Whether it comes at a track like this, remains to be seen. But for whatever reason, the guys who ran well on dirt, who really love speed and love cornering, they do well here. But as I said, I think the feel-good story this weekend has to be Jeff Gordon.
Lee, thanks so much for joining us this week. We'll see you up at the Glen. All right, let's do dinner if we can. How about that?
Come find me.
All right, I know where to find you in the media center.
You guys take care. Thanks for having me.
All right,
thank
you. Lee Spencer, everyone, fantastic writer from motorsport.com. Yeah. She's usually, you can find her breaking news or just giving great insight and definitely delivering us great insight today on the Inside Line. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit. I agree with her on most everything she said, especially the Allmendinger stuff. They are starting to struggle. But if he's fast in practices, I'm not going to turn him away, I don't think, because he's just so good there. I don't know.
He's bitten me before. I'm not going on.
So is Chase
on
Elliott. You kept him on your team all week.
I know.
All right. We're going to take one final break. We'll be back with Rango, Under the Rock, everything else winners here on the Inside Line.
We'll be right back in just a moment to talk more fantasy racing with Tyler and Robbie here on the Inside Line.
O'Reilly.
Need auto parts but can't get to a store right now? Head to O'ReillyAuto.com. Buy your parts online and pick them up in any of the 4,600 O'Reilly Auto Parts stores nationwide. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup on your schedule. Shop your way at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
NASCAR races are all about world-class, high-performance vehicles, and that's not just limited to the race cars. Freightliner Cascadia haulers transport the race cars and equipment from track to track 38 weekends of the year, keeping your favorite drivers in the race season after season. And from the engine to the seats to the dash, Freightliner specifically engineers its vehicles to give truck drivers a reliable, comfortable ride. Learn more about Freightliner truck models at FreightlinerTrucks.com.
Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, check out Slingin' Dirt with David and Ashley Strim. They talk with dirt, late model, dirt modified, and UMP modified drivers from all over America. Join David and Ashley on MRN.com, the MRN app, and YouTube as they give you the news, results, and their opinions of dirt track racing. Plus interviews with the biggest race winners and newsmakers from New York to California and all dirt tracks in between. Slingin' Dirt Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, the MRN app, and MRN.com. We now return to the Inside Line with Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series practice coming up here in about a half an hour. But before we get to that, we've got some unfinished business here on the Inside Line.
Hey.
And it starts.
I'm 3 for 5.
You're 3 and 2.
I'm 3 and 2, but 3 for 5.
3 for 5, but you're 3 and 2 on this deal. All right, so it's time to play everyone's favorite game, Under a Rock or Tyler.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
I think we need to copyright that.
I think we should. All right, so this week, it's a song.
Oh, no.
It's a very popular song.
I cannot do this.
Well, let's find out. So, Daryl, cue it up, and let's play Under a Rock or Tyler. Just that right there ought to tell you something.
I've actually heard this song before.
Okay.
Is it by Aerosmith?
No. No, it's not. What's your answer?
I don't have an answer.
Okay.
Metallica?
No.
Why'd you have to crank up the difficulty this week?
Because we wanted you to
it was
get
so
it wrong.
easy last week.
Yeah. That is Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. It was released November 8th, 1971, number 31 on Rolling Stone's
I don't even know who Led
500
Zeppelin
greatest
is.
songs of all time. They're 3 for 3.
I don't even know who Led Zeppelin
They're
is.
3 and 3. Well, that failed
I wouldn't
miserably.
have got that right. Yes.
That failed miserably. All right.
Yes, good job on that.
So,
that was a hard one.
What's next? Rango?
All right.
All right.
He
All
beat
right.
us last week. He finished 16th.
There you
Can I
go.
Open this envelope.
Yep. Bye. He's
He
back.
last week, I think he had Busher, Tony Stewart. Who else did he have?
People who are better than our picks.
Yeah, he finished 16th at NASCAR.com.
I know.
So
I didn't.
All right. Rango's picks: Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. It says the number 134, but it's actually the 34 of Chris Buescher. And then Kyle Busch is his winner. Toyota is his make. Rango's team, 24, 47, 4, 18, 34. Winner, 18. I think his team is most likely going to beat mine again this weekend. Though it's Chase Elliott. I don't really like that pick.
We know it's legitimate.
Yes. All right, your winner, Robbie Mays.
My winner this weekend at the Cheez-It 355 at Watkins Glen International is going to be Brad Keselowski with an 11.3 average finish here. Had 3 straight second-place finishes in 2011, 2012, 2013. Struggled in 2014, but came back and finished 7th last year. So I like the 2 to get win number 5 this weekend.
All right, just because I want to be different from Rango, I do like Rango's pick of Kyle Busch. This weekend, I'm going to go out on a limb, and it's a guy who came, about 100 yards from winning the race last year?
Yeah.
Kevin Harvick is my winner this weekend. I don't want to put him on my team just because I don't know how great he's going to be, but I think he can win this race. I know that sounds a little weird to say that. Sprint Cup Series practice will be coming up shortly at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with final practice starting at 3 p.m. Sprint Cup Series qualifying at noon on Saturday, and then, of course, the Xfinity Series race. I think Kyle Busch wins that, just throwing that out there.
Probably.
The Zippo 200 at the Glen. That starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Motor Racing Network. And then, of course, our pre-race starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday for the Cheez-It 355. Tony Stewart, Chris Buescher will be featured in that. There'll be some other fun stuff during that, so listen to that. Robbie Mays, off weekend next week. The Glen, you're hoping...
left and right.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you next week here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. Hopefully. I think Rich might be joining us, so unfortunately. We'll talk to you then.
You've been listening to The Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MotorRacingNetwork.com or on the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand at the MRN.com Media Center, or download it through iTunes or Stitcher. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.